Early signing period is off and running. The Huskers with 23 new players. Sean, what is the common theme or thread through these 23 new guys?
Well, I think first when you start with the offense, the group of 6 skill guys at receiver and back, I think top to bottom, it's as good of a group as you're going to see. 4 4-stars, the other 2 high 3-stars. So really collectively almost all 4-star guys in that group. Wan'Dale Robinson, Jamie Nance. I mean, you go down the line. I mean, there are some real difference maker playmakers with elite level speed. I mean, and I'm talking track speed, guys that can really run. And that's what Scott Frost wanted. And then the offensive line as well. I think looking at that group of linemen, it was a major need. They got longer, leaner, more athletic guys. And that's a vast difference from what this roster had before. You kind of had a shorter, squattier built lineman. Now you've got more of a 6'6", 6'7" guy across the board that Zach Duvall is going to really get a go to work with on that offensive line.
Yeah, Scott Frost saying at the news conference after signing day, saying that he'd look across the field and see, hey, the other team is bigger and stronger than my team. Let's fix that, and that was a priority.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to make everything better in the long run. Now, it's going to be a process. I mean, these offensive linemen, maybe Bryce Benhart's a guy that's ready to play next year, but I think in general, you look at these guys and you're like, all right, give them 2 years, give them 2.5 years of training and development. And this is, and with Scott Frost, he knows he's got that kind of time here. He's got time to build it the right way, where I don't know if previous head coaches felt like they had that kind of time. I mean, they had to kind of recruit to keep their job, where I think with Frost, we know he's here for the long run, and he's going to be able to kind of recruit and develop the kind of lineman he wants over a 4 to 5 year period.
Yeah, this is the second time we've done this early signing period thing in December. This one, there just seemed like a lack of drama. Everything kind of went as planned. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, this was my 20th signing day, and I can't remember this kind of status quo where everything kind of just went as planned. Because trust me, when you're talking about 18-year-old kids, junior college kids that are at home for the holiday break already, not everything typically goes to plan. I mean, there's something that happens, snowstorms, late cancellations of letters, fax machine problems, guys switching without telling people. None of that happened. And I think that's a testament to this coaching staff, the relationships they developed over the recruiting process. As Scott Frost said, it was a drama-free day, and that was because of, I think, the strong relationships they built with these guys over the process.
How about Wan'Dale Robinson? He was one of the kids that Scott Frost brought his entire coaching staff there to visit to make sure that Wan'Dale Robinson was a Husker.
And they overcame really the only drama of this cycle in a lot of ways, because when he decommitted, he was a silent commit. He was never public to Nebraska, but when he picked Kentucky, he was supposed to pick Nebraska that day. And Scott Frost even said, I was upset about that. He goes, I credit my assistants because I was pretty mad at that time. And they stuck on him, and Nebraska was able to get back in with Wan'Dale Robinson, close the deal, and then bring Scott Frost finally into the living room to kind of solidify out that thing here down the stretch. But that was a big win, because I thought of all the guys in this class, he was the true piece that you saw at Oregon or UCF, that in-space, Rondell Moore-ish type of speed guy that you really need to make this offense go in the long run.
Scott Frost calling the 5 in-state players he signed for scholarships the backbone, the future backbone of this program.
And that was big in a lot of ways. I mean, Nebraska has not sweep the in-state like this in a long time. I mean, there's 5 Power 5 guys in the state. They got all 5. And, yeah, you're like, doesn't that happen every year? Well, it hasn't. I mean, Iowa or Wisconsin or K-State, and a lot of times Nebraska may not have offered these guys, or they screwed the pooch, offered the guy too late, and in Iowa or Wisconsin got the guy over Nebraska. So I think a lot of credit goes to Barrett Ruud. I go back to January a year ago. He was in that weight room at Omaha Burke every single week. They're allowed to go once a week. Just to watch Nick Henrich and Chris Hickman. And that got Nebraska, I think, more in the door with those guys, where if Mike Riley's still here, I can confidently say I don't think all 5 of these guys picked Nebraska. And I think you got to give this staff a lot of credit for the work they put in to gain the trust and respect of the in-state kids and the in-state coaches.
And finally, 23 players now. How big can this class be? Because there's going to be some additions as we move forward.
Well, there's 2 letters they're still waiting on from the JUCO front. Desmond Bland, and then you've got Dedrick Mills. And I think Scott Frost kind of hinted at that on both those guys, that they're waiting on those, and they could get those in here any day. But then you've got Noah Pulla-Gates out of Arizona, another guy, a 4-star safety. So that gets him 26. And then, I think there's anywhere from 2 to 3 more they can add. They can take up to 30, and I think that number probably includes graduate transfers, and they're going to definitely keep that spot open as well. But they've got room to have some fun in January, and they can get out there and really kind of swing for the fence on a couple of big guys that maybe they weren't looking at as hard. But now they're going to have the time. And the beauty of this early signing day, Andy, is you don't have to babysit all your guys now in January. Before, you'd have to go in-home visit all 23 of these guys.
Over the holidays.
Make sure they're happy,
yeah,
and you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Now, you can just go out there and go on a fishing expedition for a big fish. You don't have to worry about doing all the little stuff on the side anymore.
Well, 23 players in right now. You think about last year, they only had 12. And Scott Frost says that this class could be as many as 30 when the traditional signing day appears come the first Wednesday in February.